A woman will, as I found out from personal experience, if there's even a little tiny mouse in the house, my daughter heard that there might have been a mouse, and she ran up the ladder, up to the top of the bunk bed. You know, from a mouse. What if there were a snake in the house? Alachas kama v'kama, Hashem created it that way. That a woman and the Nachash should never have anything to do with one another. Ever. And he therefore was separated from man when he was so desperately trying to be connected to man. So desperately trying to be connected to man. Okay. And then we have to go and fix all these problems. So, let's get to now the next generation. The three sons of Cain and Hevel. The three sons of Noah. Okay, let's skip Cain and Hevel for a moment. We spoke about Cain and Hevel, didn't we? A little bit? About the wool and the linen and all that. Should I mention it very quickly? Okay. This is really a recap. We're going to go on from here. So the next generation that was still part of the problem of Gan Eden was Cain and Hevel. Cain contains the most virulent form of the Kina, Kavod, and Taiva. Therefore, what does he do? He has terrible jealousy for Hevel. Terrible jealousy for Hevel. And he also was very upset about what? That he was thrown out of Gan Eden. Do you know that he was born in Gan Eden? So what does he do? Chazal tells us Gemara. Gemara says that after Chava and Adam were created, so they procreated. No. It was an automatic birth. Automatic. Like the grape trees and the wine vines, etc., etc. It was an automatic birth. So Cain's main problem was that he was extremely jealous and he was very upset that he was demoted from being in Gan Eden to something a lot less, right? Where he's going to have to work hard. What carbon does he bring to Hashem? What carbon does he bring to Hashem? A very lowly one. The lowest of the fruits, otherwise known as flaxseed. Flaxseed, the Gemara tells us, if you make a contract with somebody to sell peiros, and you bring them a bunch of flax seeds, it's called peiros. But it's the lowest form of fruit. It is edible, but you can also make clothes out of it. You can decide. You want to wear it or eat it? Eat it or wear it. That's your choice. We make linen out of flax seeds, right? Linen, one of the major forms of clothing, including in the Beis Hamikdash, right? What's the other major form of clothing? Wool. Are you allowed to put them together? What's that called? Shatnez claim. Okay. So the Medrash claims that the source of the idea of shatnez is from Cain and Hevel. Cain brought flax seeds because he was trying to show that even the most worst of the fruits, right, was still worthy of greatness. Why? Because where did he think he still was or wanted to be? Gan Eden, where everything is just perfect. I never agreed to get kicked out of Gan Eden. That was my parents' fault, said Cain. But we did. So deal with it. He doesn't want to deal with it. So comes along Hevel and says, okay, we're kicked out of Gan Eden. We better make the best of it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, it's not a great idea to work the field. Why? Because what did Hashem say to Adam Arisha? It's going to be, the land is cursed, So that's not a great business to go into. I'll try something else. And Noach wasn't around. By the way, Noach was the one who made farming possible again. You know how? He invented the plow. He was the first one who brought in some technology that you can try to reverse the curse. They thought he was going to reverse the curse. The Torah says Noach had the answers, that they could really live from the land again. But Cain didn't have that. And so Hevel didn't have it. So he says, well, we have plenty of animals. I can't eat them, right? But I can grow them, and I can take stuff off of them, like milk and wool. And there's my parnasa. And the great thing about cattle is that they're like an apartment building. It's constant income. Constant income, right? That's how I used to get wealthy in the old days. We speak about Shlomo's wealth. He had such and such amount of sown and such amount of... Why? Because they proliferate. They're constantly proliferating, you get more and more and more, and more milk and more wool and more meat and more. And that's how it goes. Great business. Great business. And Cain would have no part of it because he says, no, I do not accept the reality that we have to do what Hashem said, which is stay out of the garden. I want my privileged status back. He can never come to terms with it. And therefore, he's motivated to kill Hevel. Why is he motivated to kill Hevel? Because, yes, he represents the violation of everything he's striving for. You can't see Hevel, because Hevel negates his entire philosophy, that we're back in the garden, we're never left. And therefore, shotness. Where does shotness find its repair? Remember, we speak about spiritual evolution. Everything is getting better and better and better. Finally, shotness does come together. Where does shotness come together? On which person does shotness come together? The Kohen Gadol. Even according to many regular Kohanim too, their belts were shotness. Not so clear according to everyone. But they could wear it only when they were doing the service, which essentially regular Kohanim are the helpers of the Kohen Gadol. That's really just how you have to look at it. Just like Aaron had his two sons, they were assisting him. But everything's focused on the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol was Aaron HaKohen. Why do you think Aaron HaKohen wears the shotness and wool? I have no problem. Because the brothers that fought, did Aaron fight his brother? No. He fully accepts him and honors him, even though what? He took away his exalted position. How do you like that? This is the repair of the rupture of Cain and Hevel. Okay? So things are constantly evolving for the good. But so that was Cain and Hevel's problem. Now we have the generations of Cain, I don't want to spend too much time on, but we do have Lamech. Remember the story of Lamech? Lamech had two wives. What were the two wives? One was named Ada and one was named Silla. Okay, one was a consort, Silla, be in my shadow, and one was for work and children. Her name was Ada. Okay, now the thing is that Lamech speaks to his two wives, and Rashi says what he's trying to say to them is, why are you mad at me? He didn't have shalom bayis. I don't think you're going to have too much shalom bayis if one wife is doing all the work and one wife is you're going out to dinner. It's not a formula for success, is it? Not a very smart man. But again, because he's a descendant of Cain, which all got wiped out in the Mabul, all of them, with one exception, which we'll get to in a second. That Cain, its progeny, actually ended up killing him. It was Lamech who accidentally killed Zaidi Cain, who was, how many generations was he given? 7 generations. Notice, 7 generations. To get his act together, to improve his midos. But it doesn't happen, and what happens to Cain at the end? He's killed by none other than his own Einikel, Tuval Cain, the son of whom? The son of Tzila. Now 1 second. Tzila wasn't supposed to have any children. He gave her kos shalikri. He rendered her infertile so that he could just go out to dinner with her. Right? But the truth is that she did have 2 children. And hence, he creates weaponry and death. Because you know why? He was supposed to be murdered himself. He was never supposed to be in the world. He was the object of murder. They didn't want to have any more children. They gave her infertility, caused her to be infertile. But he somehow gets born, and he brings weaponry. He's the Cain times 10. Okay, so he shot an arrow at the behest of his father Lamech, because he sees an animal in the field. It looks like an animal and it has a horn on its head. And who was it really? It was Cain, says the Medrash, because what does Hashem do to Cain to make sure that he doesn't get killed? Puts a mark on his head, and that mark was like a little horn, whatever it was, and it looks animal-like. So they ended up killing him. Wow, his own family. And he comes home to his 2 wives, and they are hopping mad. They are hopping mad. So what did you do? You killed Zaidi, but that wasn't all. He was so upset, Chazal tell us, that he collapsed his hands and he smashed the skull of Tuvah. Now, there's a lot we can go into what this really means. I don't go into too much detail. But murder caused murder, and Lamach's idea completely collapsed, and his wives wanted no part of him. He says, "You are a murderer. You murdered our Zaidi, and you murdered our son, and you have nothing to do with you." And he calls them back, and he says, no, you have to listen to me. You have to listen to me. He says, "It's not my fault. I'm innocent here." Okay? Now, there is another child that came out of the union of Lamach and his wife, Zillah, who was not supposed to have children. And her name was Naamah. She was lovely. She probably was the good part of their relationship. He loved her. He was nice to her. He did chesed to her. He was na'im. And therefore, a child was born called Naamah. Naamah, from the generations of Cain, from the family of Cain, is the last survivor, is the only survivor. Because Noah comes from which line? Does he come from the Cain line, or does he come from the third son? Again, third. Cain, Hevel, Chase. The problems of Cain, the problems of Hevel give way to Chase. Chase is the one. The third one is the one that actually produces the mankind that would produce Avram and the future of the world. But the Cain line, it's like Long Island Railroad, it sounds like. The car, like Babylon line, Montauk, okay, all aboard. Then the Cain line is terminated, with one exception, Naamah. Naamah marries Noach. Oh no. So we have once again the same story all over again. Noach, his wife, there was a name, Medrash does say a name for his wife, I'm forgetting it right now. And then, Naamah is Noach's wife, and then the three children, sorry. Naamah is Noach's wife, and then the three children. So we are stuck once again with the internalized problem of the Yetzar of Kina, Kavod, V'Taiva, of the corruption of Keser, Chachma, Bina. As we said last week, spiritual evolution is really spiritual revolution. Man is constantly working to alleviate this problem, to get better and better and better. Okay, now, we spoke last time about the Shev Mitzvahs Bnei Noach, right? Really, it started with 6 mitzvahs. First 3, take a guess what they are. Gili Arayos, Shvichus Damim, and Avodah Zarah, otherwise known as Kina, Kavod, and Taiva. Right? That's the first 3 of the mitzvahs. Do not adulter, that's obviously Taiva, right? Kina is what? Is murder. Kavod. One is murders out of kavod violation, and then Kina's jealousy is avodah zarah. Or some people might formulate it differently. That you could say that Kina is the avodah zarah. Okay. But either way, these are the 3 major Noahide mitzvahs, right? Because we got to deal with the problem. And then we said that there were 3 shadow mitzvahs that connect to those 3. Right? That's what we said. Who remembers what we connected? Do you remember? We said, what's the 3 other mitzvahs? Number 1, don't steal. Number 2, don't curse Hashem. Number 2, don't curse Hashem. And what's the 3rd one? Dinim, law and order. So, if you want to say that murder corresponds to which one of those 3? Murder is the big thing. And what's the smaller one? Here, I'm just going to Dinim, okay, law and order. And then you have adultery, which is like a form of theft. So it's mirrored in Gezel. And Avodah Zarah is Birkas Hashem, is cursing God. Because it's not really serving a different God. What it is that you are cursing the God that you know. So really, here's the big chiddush. The 6 mitzvahs that were given to Adam are really 3 mitzvos refracted. So they're, it's like we say about Parshas Kedoshim. Parshas Kedoshim is, you have Kedoshim to you. Every one of the Aseres Dibros is in Parshas Kedoshim, but in a higher form. You understand that so there's like a range. Like the first 6 mitzvahs of man are like, okay, the gross violation is murder. On a smaller level, on the upside, you've got to produce real justice courts that protect life and sanctify life, etc. So it's a range. It's a range that's being provided to him to fill in. And the 7th mitzvah, of course, was Ever Min Achai, which is the difference between the malchut of man, that man is the king of the world and not animals, and certainly not trees or anything else. All right, so the problems that started in the Gan are transmitted into the Teva, and then there are 3 sons, Shem, Cham, and Yafes. Okay, each one of them is tasked with continuing the repair. Who was asked to fix the sin of Avodah Zarah? I would say Shem, because that's more of the issue of worshiping God, and I'm saying it's more about your relationship with Hashem, you and Hashem. So Avodah Zarah is the corruption of the relationship with Hashem. Who was tasked with fixing Shvichus Damim, murder? That's Yafes, right? What do we say about Rome and Edom? Al Charbecha Tichya. And who was tasked with fixing Gilei Arayos? Cham. Cham was one of the 3. Gemara Sanhedrin in Perek Chelek says that there are 3 people who didn't keep the rules of not cohabiting in the Teva. Who were they? Number 1, Cham. Number 2, Kelev. And number 3, the Orev, the raven. They are all what? This is raise the thing. You understand? They received the curse of Canaan. The curse of Canaan. Cham became Cush. Blackened them. In a way, I would say, to make them less beautiful, less desirable, perhaps. And they got to fix the problem of adultery. They have to fix it. That's their job. And the idea of stable family life is the tikkun, right? And that's a big challenge. So Shem, Cham, and Yafes each got a job. Problem is, only 2 of them, the same thing keeps happening. One keeps dropping off the table, right? And who do we lose in this process? Noah comes out of the table. He plants the grapes. He wants to start to build life over again. He's in an ohel, a tent, which reminds us of the tent of Sarah, about the Beis Hamikdash, and it fails. So what happens? 2 of the sons do good, and 1 drops out. He's demoted further. That's Cham. It's Eved Avodim. He's going to be an Eved to both Shem and Yafes. What does Shem and Yafes do? They take the cloak, they take a cover, and they cover Ervas Noach. They're trying to uphold the mitzvahs of Noach. They're trying to be Noahites, save the world together. If Shem, who gives birth to Am Yisrael, connects with Yafes, who gives birth to Rome, Europe, Iran, and all the European nations, if they hold the cloak together in partnership, they can cover the wickedness of Noah. But if they don't, then the problems of the generation of the Mabul proliferate, as we see tremendously today. Okay, so that's a very brief overview. Gets us up to the time. Well, that gives us up to Avram Avinu, and we'll take it from there. Understand one last thing. Har Ararat is where Noach starts again. According to the Targum, Ararat is Ture Kurdu, the mountains of the Kurds, which is Western Turkey. That is the basic point. All those areas, Iraq and Lower Turkey and Syria. The flashpoint of the world's conflict is specifically the place where B'nai Noach are supposed to get their act together. And it's a battle royale for the soul of mankind, and it's raging right now. And Baruch Hashem, Bez Hashem,